What if I told you that everything you've been taught about our world was a lie? What if mountains were really giants? What if the titans of Greek mythology actually existed and they shaped our planet as we know it? I'll explore that idea as well as several other mountain finds in today's video. So grab a snack and get comfortable and let's get into it. Graveyard of Titans. Have you ever seen a massive rock formation or a mountain that resembled a face or a person and thought to yourself, was this once a living creature? Turns out our planet may be a vast graveyard of titans. The Graveyard of Titans theory suggests that ancient giants, titans, and enormous trees once dominated Earth, but over time they somehow turned into the mountains, rocks, and geological features we see today. Could that be true? While mainstream science tends to dismiss these ideas as fantasy or myth, some independent researchers and theorists believe there's more to the story than what we're taught. According to this theory, titans or giant beings may have walked the Earth in prehistory and eventually petrified, becoming part of the planet itself. Supporters of the theory argue that modern science has chosen to ignore this idea, dismissing it as legend. But what if these stories hold some truth? The idea isn't just about giant creatures. It also involves enormous trees that might have existed before the biblical flood. These trees are said to have reached miles into the sky. They could have been made of something different from what we know, perhaps a silicon-based material that made them as tough as stone. Today, what we think of as mountain ranges or rock formations may in fact be the remnants of these colossal trees or titans. One of the leading figures in promoting this theory is Roger Spurr, founder of the Mud Fossil University YouTube channel. In 2012, Spurr made a fascinating discovery: a giant human hand. It was about 3 feet wide, and it was clear that it couldn't have belonged to any other creature. The hand then underwent DNA testing and had CAT scans performed on it. And guess what? The results, he claims, confirmed that the DNA was human. This led him to further explore the possibility that ancient giants and titans once existed and left traces in the form of rock-like structures. Spurr's research eventually led him to believe that the Earth itself, along with meteorites and comets, might be biological in nature. He points to the fact that ancient texts from around the world, whether from Greek mythology, the Bible, or Norse legends, all mention giants or titans. Could these myths have a basis in reality? Spurr tried to present his findings to several prestigious universities, but his ideas were largely ignored or dismissed. As he sees it, the scientific establishment refuses to even entertain the possibility that titans once roamed the Earth. YouTuber JDreamer2 also delves into this theory, pointing out how nearly every ancient culture has legends of giants. He suggests that these titans were not just ordinary beings, but were fundamental to shaping the Earth as we know it. According to his view, the war between titans and gods, which is a common theme in many myths, may have been a real event that led to these beings turning into stone. He also speculates that these ancient beings weren't carbon-based life forms like humans, but possibly silicon-based. This would make them fundamentally different from anything we understand today. This might even explain how they could turn into rock over time. So why does modern science shy away from the idea that giants and titans existed? One reason might be that proving such a theory is extremely difficult. To do so, scientists would need to extract DNA from rocks, something that seems impossible. Rocks are not organic, after all, and science has yet to find a method for retrieving DNA from stone. However, some independent researchers claim to have found traces of biological material in certain rock samples. Unfortunately, though, this evidence isn't enough to convince the scientific community. The Graveyard of Titans theory is a captivating one, blending mythology with geology. Whether or not titans and ancient trees turned into the mountains and rocks we see today is up for debate. But still, it makes you wonder about what could have been possible millions of years ago. What do you think? Did the carcasses of titans and giants turn to stone, forming geological features? Could the proof of this be all around us without us even realizing? Let me know in the comments down below. Glacier mice. In the rugged Alaskan mountains, scientists made a peculiar discovery: moss balls that seem to have a mind of their own. These fuzzy green balls resembled miniature creatures, almost begging to be adopted as a child's pet. In 2006, while hiking near Alaska's Root Glacier, which is surrounded by mountains, researcher Tim Bartholomeusz found something strange: bright green balls of moss scattered across the ice. Bartholomeusz, a glaciologist, was puzzled by these odd glacier mice, as they were later called. They weren't attached to anything and simply sat on the glacier's surface, adding a splash of color to the otherwise white world. These fuzzy green balls intrigued Bartholomeusz and his colleagues so much that they decided to study them. Over time, they discovered that these moss balls could survive for years and even move together, almost like a herd of animals. How in the world is that possible? Well, unfortunately, the reason behind their movement remains a mystery. But that's part of the fun, don't you think? They move at a slow pace, but these moss balls somehow manage to travel in the same direction and at the same speed. It's almost like they're part of a strange coordinated dance. The term glacier mice isn't new. Back in the 1950s, an Icelandic researcher wrote about them, noting that rolling stones gather moss. These moss balls have been spotted not only in Alaska, but also in Iceland, Svalbard, and even South America. But still, not just any glacier can host them. Conditions need to be just right. Wildlife biologist Sophie Gilbert noted that their movement was especially odd. The team suspected that they might roll around like tumbleweeds, but their motion was more complicated. The moss on the bottom needs to be exposed to sunlight, meaning the balls must roll or the moss would die. They don't just tumble randomly either. These moss balls move about an inch a day in what appears to be an organized pattern. Over several years, Bartholomeusz and his team tracked the moss balls, hoping to figure out what was driving their movement. They ruled out wind, sunlight, and even downhill slopes. None of these seem to be the answer. To this day, no one knows why these glacier mice move the way they do. Can you crack the mystery? And now for a quick break. But first, I wanted to give a shout out and a big thank you to Thyronell and Thomas Muser for supporting this channel. Origins Explained wouldn't be what it is today without viewers like you. If this is your first time watching, be sure to subscribe if you haven't already for more videos about amazing discoveries. Till death do us part. What's worse than finding a dead body during your workday? Finding two dead bodies. In an incredible twist of fate, two bodies were found frozen in time on a Swiss glacier. They had been perfectly preserved for 75 years. During what seemed like an ordinary day at work, a ski lift technician from Glacier 3000, a resort in the Swiss Alps, stumbled upon what he first thought were black rocks. But boy was he wrong. Upon closer inspection, he realized they weren't rocks at all. They were the mummified remains of two people. They were found huddled together near the Saint-Florent Glacier. I bet that ski lift technician wishes he had called in that day. DNA testing soon confirmed that these bodies belonged to Marcelin and Francine Dumoulin, a married couple who disappeared on August 15, 1942. They vanished on their way to tend to their cattle. For decades, their fate was a mystery. It's probable they fell into a crevasse, or perhaps a snowstorm buried them, making it impossible for anyone to find them. But the real mystery was how their bodies remained so well preserved. Dan Fisher, a professor of Earth and Environmental Sciences, explained that their bodies froze, but the water inside their tissues didn't stay in ice form. Through a process called sublimation, where ice turns directly into vapor, the moisture slowly left their bodies. This, along with the cold and dry conditions of the glacier, helped keep bacteria and fungi at bay, leaving the bodies mummified. They essentially became human popsicles. What a terrible way to go. Glaciers are constantly moving, but the Saint-Florent Glacier is relatively stable, meaning the Dumoulin's bodies remained largely undisturbed. As the glacier has slowly retreated due to climate change, it revealed their frozen forms. Global warming has been shrinking glaciers worldwide, leading to discoveries like this one. Just a few miles away at the Schneidejoch Glacier, artifacts dating back to 4500 BC were also uncovered. For Marcelin and Francine's daughter, Marceline Udry Dumoulin, the discovery brought long-awaited closure. She was only 4 years old when her parents disappeared. Local rescue teams searched tirelessly but found no trace of them. Now, after years of wandering and searching herself, she finally has the answers she had longed for. the Betty and Barney Hill incident. If you don't believe in the existence of aliens, this next story might change your mind. In September 1961, Betty and Barney Hill, a married couple from Portsmouth, New Hampshire, found themselves in the middle of an extraordinary and spooky adventure. It all started as they were driving through the White Mountains. But what started as a peaceful drive turned into an encounter that would make headlines around the world. Their story has shaped the way people think about UFOs and alien abductions. Betty and Barney had a busy life. They both worked demanding jobs and volunteered in their community. As an interracial couple active in the civil rights movement, they decided to take a break and go on a spontaneous road trip. After a late-night dinner stop in Vermont, they aimed to reach Portsmouth by early morning. However, as they drove through the dark mountains, they noticed a bright light in the sky following them. At first, Barney, a World War II vet and plane enthusiast, thought it might be a satellite. But as the light grew larger and closer, curiosity turned into concern. The couple pulled over, and through binoculars they saw what they believed to be a spinning, flying saucer. Barney was skeptical and uneasy. He decided to investigate further. When he saw the object hovering above their car, he got out with a handgun, but he felt strangely paralyzed and unable to use it. Panicking, he rushed back to the car and they sped away. The next morning, Betty and Barney woke up back home with no memory of what happened during the night. They found scuffed shoes, a torn dress, and their watches, which had stopped ticking, adding to the mystery. Betty began researching UFOs and eventually contacted the Air Force out of concern for radiation. They sought help from a psychiatrist, Dr. Benjamin Simon, who used hypnosis to help them recover their memories. Under hypnosis, the Hills recounted being taken aboard the UFO, where they were examined by grey beings. They described being tested, with their hair, nails, and skin sampled. Betty even remembered a needle being inserted into her stomach as a pregnancy test. She later drew a star map that the leader of the beings had shown her. Experts later figured out that this map suggested that beings came from the Zeta Reticuli star system. Though not the first alien abduction story, the Hills case was one of the most detailed and credible at the time. Their experience influenced how alien encounters were portrayed in the media, shifting from friendly visitors to mysterious and frightening abductions. Betty continued researching UFOs until her death, and the story of the Hills remains a cornerstone of UFO lore. The Mystery Stone. What if the secrets of ancient civilizations are hidden in plain sight, waiting to be deciphered? The Mystery Stone may hold the key, but what exactly is it? Also called the Decalogue Stone and the Los Lunas Mystery Stone, it sits high on a mountain in the remote desert of west-central New Mexico. The stone is located in the Hidden Hills, about 17 miles outside of Los Lunas, New Mexico. This strange 60-ton stone has sparked some heated debates. Why? Because of the ancient-looking inscriptions carved into its face. Some believe these markings are written in the extinct Paleo-Hebrew language, while others suggest that it could be Cypriotic Greek. But the most interesting part of the stone? Some think it may display the 10 Commandments. The Mystery Stone was first documented in 1933, when archaeologist Frank Hibben mentioned it in his work. He said that he discovered it during a guided tour, led by someone who claimed to have found it in the 1880s. This would mean that the stone was carved long before modern scholars rediscovered Paleo-Hebrew or Cypriotic Greek, further adding to the mystery. In 1949, Harvard scholar Robert Pfeiffer translated the stone and claimed that it could be a version of the 10 Commandments. Another theory surfaced in 1979. Dixie Perkins, an expert at the University of New Mexico, believed the stone told the story of a lost explorer named Zakynairos, who struggled to survive in the wilderness. But who the heck is Zakynairos? Not everyone is convinced. Many suspect that the stone might be a hoax. Some even believe Hibben fabricated the stone to support the idea that ancient people arrived in North America before Columbus. And the fact that others who studied the stone had ties to questionable researchers only deepened the skepticism. But what if Hibben's is right? What if the stone really does have the 10 Commandments etched into it? What would that mean? Let me know what you think. The Sleeping Giant. Is there a sleeping giant hiding in plain sight in Hawaii? Local legends seem to think so. Now Mountain, also known as the Sleeping Giant, dominates the east side of Kauai, and it gets its name from its striking shape, resembling a giant lying down. The legends surrounding this mountain are as captivating as its form. One of the most famous stories involves a giant named Puni. According to the tale, Puni was sent by the Menehune people to gather firewood from the forests. Exhausted from his hard work, Puni lay down to rest, and while he was asleep, an army from Oahu attacked Kauai. The Menehune tried to wake him, throwing rocks at his belly in desperation, but Puni stayed fast asleep. In an unfortunate twist, they accidentally threw rocks into his mouth and nose, suffocating the giant. While the rocks scared off the enemy, Puni never woke up. Another legend involves a mysterious fish caught by local fishermen. The fish wouldn't stop crying. Believing it to be an ancestral spirit, they fed it poi, which transformed it into a giant boy with an insatiable appetite. To calm him, they named him Nunu. Satisfied, the boy laid down and fell asleep, forever becoming the Sleeping Giant. Today, the Sleeping Giant is a popular hiking spot with stunning views. The 1,241-foot-high plateau offers breathtaking panoramas of the surrounding area. Many locals, including one who once carried his 4-year-old son up the mountain, now use the trail for marathon training. And in the 1700s, a high chief named Alkanaka even built a temple atop the mountain, adding another layer of history to this already legendary place. But was this mountain really once a giant? Let me know what you think in the comments. Extinct trees brought back to life. Imagine the surprise of researchers when a tree that was thought to be extinct was discovered in the mountains of Tanzania. In July 2023, botanist Andrea Bianchi was driving through the Nguru Mountains in eastern Tanzania when something caught his eye. He saw strange broad pods on a tree growing in a maize field. He was curious, so he pulled over. And that's when he made a surprising discovery. What he had stumbled upon were not just any trees, but 2 rare Melletia secluxi trees, a species that was previously thought to be extinct. This remarkable find was like finding a hidden treasure in the wild. This species of tree is so rare that it doesn't even have an English name. The locals call it muhafu, a name they use for several similar trees. Scientists had only seen this species in 3 forest reserves, but most of those areas were destroyed over the years. The last known reserve, near Turiani, had shrunk significantly, and many feared that the species had been wiped out entirely. Bianchi was overjoyed to find the 2 trees still standing, somehow surviving in a heavily farmed area. Though crowded by other plants and shaded by larger trees, these Melletia trees had managed to endure the odds. Their pods held thousands of seeds, which were collected and germinated to help bring the species back from the brink of extinction. In total, 7,000 seeds were gathered and 5,500 of them sprouted into healthy seedlings. These seedlings are now part of a larger reforestation project led by the PAMS Foundation, which is working to restore the rainforest in the Nguru Mountains. Farmers in the area are even renting parts of their land to grow trees as part of this conservation effort. The discovery is a massive victory for conservationists, as the species had only been recorded a few times in history. The Melletia trees will now play a crucial role in the reforestation project, which aims to restore lost forests and connect wildlife habitats. Although the future of these rare trees looks promising, Bianchi remains concerned about their genetic health, as some seedlings showed signs of inbreeding. Despite this, the discovery has given hope that the species, once feared lost, will thrive once again. The tablet with links to the Bible. Does an ancient tablet found on a mountain prove that there's truth to the stories in the Bible? I guess it depends on who you ask. At a press conference in 2022, the discovery of a tablet was announced to the world. It was said to be found on Mount Ebal in Israel, which allegedly has links to the Bible. In the book of Joshua, the prophet Joshua was instructed by God to build an altar made of stone on top of the mountain. Some even claim that this legendary altar was found in 1980, although this claim has yet to be substantiated. But let's get back to the tablet. Initially, there was a lot of excitement surrounding its discovery. People said that it contained the earliest known Hebrew inscription, a curse written in ancient script dating back to the 14th or 13th century BC. However, things soon became more complicated. The excitement faded, as new studies emerged. The lead tablet, which is about the size of a coin, was supposedly discovered during a controversial excavation. This excavation was led by a team of researchers including Scott Stripling, a biblical archaeologist, and Gershon Galil, a professor of biblical studies. The researchers claimed that the tablet had been folded shut after being inscribed with a curse in ancient Hebrew. Since it was too fragile to open, they used tomographic scans to look inside. They claimed to see the following ominous inscription: "Cursed, cursed, cursed, cursed by the God Yahweh. You will die cursed, cursed you will surely die." This was monumental news. If true, it would push back the earliest evidence of Hebrew writing by centuries. It would challenge the long-held belief that the Bible was written down much later, possibly debunking the notion that the Bible's stories were mere legends passed down orally over time. The researchers who discovered the lead tablet believed their find was associated with Joshua's biblical altar. They suggested that the tablet, with its supposed curse inscription, provided evidence of the altar's biblical ties. To them, it supported the idea that early Israelites practiced ritual cursing as described in the Bible. Essentially, they argued that their discovery linked the site to the biblical story, reinforcing their belief that the altar mentioned in the Bible was indeed at Mount Ebal. But not everyone was convinced by the find. Experts quickly pointed out that the tablet was discovered in a pile of debris from an earlier dig conducted by Israeli archaeologist Adam Zertal in the 1980s. And because the tablet wasn't found in a new excavation, it was hard to tell exactly when or where it came from. Some scholars even suggested that the tablet might be from a later time or have nothing to do with the site at all. The debate didn't stop there. A series of studies recently challenged the original claims. Professor Aaron Meyer of Bar-Ilan University and biblical epigraphist Christopher Ralston analyzed the scans and concluded that the supposed inscription simply wasn't there. They argued that the lines seen on the tablet were more likely random scratches or marks caused by erosion rather than ancient letters. Their harsh critique suggested that the researchers might have seen what they wanted to see. This is a phenomenon known as pareidolia, like when people see faces in clouds or the image of Jesus on toast. Further studies by other experts like archaeologist Anahai Mazar proposed a different theory. The lead tablet might not be a tablet at all. Instead, it could have been a fishing net weight, a common artifact found across the ancient world. Mazar pointed out that lead weights were often used to weigh down nets and sometimes had decorations or marks, which might explain the scratches on the artifact. And interestingly, the lead was traced back to Greece, leading to another question: how could such an item end up on a biblical mountain? As the debate rages on, it seems the once promising discovery might not be what it was thought to be. Some scholars maintain that the tablet holds significance, while others believe it's a simple fishing weight caught in the tide of wishful thinking. But what do you think? Rare Kitty of Mount Everest. Calling all cat lovers, get ready to meet your new favorite kitty. In an exciting twist for wildlife enthusiasts and mountaineers alike, a new discovery has put a rare cat species in the spotlight on Mount Everest. This breakthrough was reported in Cat News and is the result of a groundbreaking expedition in 2019, spearheaded by National Geographic. This was the most thorough scientific mission ever done on the world's tallest mountain. From April 7th to May 2nd, 2019, Dr. Tracy Simon co-led a team of scientists on a remarkable journey. They ventured into Everest's southern flank in Nepal. The team collected environmental samples from 2 high-altitude spots, and they also made an unexpected find: cat scat. It sounds like a new type of music, just for our feline friends. Dr. Simon was thrilled by the discovery, calling it phenomenal to find proof of Pallas's cat in such an extreme location. This rare species had never been documented on Everest before. The team's DNA analysis of scat samples confirmed that 2 Pallas's cats live on Everest and share their territory with red foxes. They also found DNA from a pika and mountain weasel, which are important prey for these little kitties. This finding not only adds a new species to the list of mammals in Sagarmatha National Park, but also sheds light on the unique wildlife living in this rugged terrain. The Shir Idol. The Shir Idol is an ancient mystery carved into wood. Literally. Standing at 17 feet tall when it was first discovered, this incredible wooden sculpture is the oldest in the world, and its story is as fascinating as the artwork itself. In 1890, a group of gold miners working in Russia's Ural Mountains stumbled upon something strange buried in a peat bog. It was the Shir Idol, a totem pole-like figure decorated with geometric patterns and haunting human faces. Little did they know, they had just unearthed a piece of prehistoric art dating back over 12,000 years. For decades, scientists weren't sure exactly how old the idol was. It wasn't until 1997, using radiocarbon dating, that Russian experts finally put an age to it. 9,500 years old. That was already mind-blowing, but in 2018, even more advanced testing pushed the date back to an incredible 11,600 years. Then a recent study added another 900 years to that, meaning the Shir Idol is over 12,500 years old. To put that in perspective, it's twice as old as Stonehenge or the pyramids of Egypt. What's fascinating about the idol is its intricate carvings and the mystery they hold. Archaeologists had long believed that early hunter-gatherer societies mostly created art that depicted animals or hunting scenes, but the Shir Idol, with its abstract symbols and ritualistic designs, challenges that idea. It suggests that prehistoric people may have had a much deeper symbolic and spiritual life than we once thought. One reason we haven't found more wooden artifacts like the Shir Idol is because wood decays quickly over time, but thanks to the preservation power of the peat bog, this ancient artwork survived. Researchers now believe there may be more treasures hidden in the peat bogs of the Urals, waiting to reveal even more secrets about our ancient ancestors. Shrine to the mountain gods. Imagine hiking up a mountain and accidentally stumbling upon a shrine dedicated to ancient Roman gods. That's exactly what happened in 2020 when a hiker discovered a single ancient coin high in the Swiss Alps. After reporting it to authorities, archaeologists began to investigate the area, and what they found was nothing short of extraordinary. Led by Regula Gubler, a scientific project manager, the team uncovered a hidden treasure trove of ancient Roman artifacts. So far, they found 100 Roman coins, 59 shoe nails, 27 small rock crystals, a brooch, and a fragment of a half-shaped votive plaque. These discoveries suggest that the site, located at nearly 8,500 feet above sea level, wasn't just a random place for people to drop loose change. It was likely a sacred site where people made offerings to the mountain gods, possibly asking for favors or giving thanks. What makes this find even more special is its location. The site is far from any human habitation, both in modern times and back in Roman times. It's not on any known pass, making it difficult for the excavation team to access. They even had to fly in supplies and camp for several days to conduct their research. Gubler noted that the high altitude and remote location suggest that this place held great importance for the ancient people who visited it. Adding to the mystery, the area is home to natural rock crystal formations. These crystals may have been considered sacred or magical, and the team believes they were likely left as offerings to the gods. According to archaeologist Adriano Boschetti, the high plateau between the peaks of Ammertenhorn and the Wildstrubel Massif, which are visible from afar, may have been seen as a holy place. This find isn't too surprising, considering that just 12 miles away in the town of Thun, there are several Roman temples, including one dedicated to the goddesses of the Alps. As Gubler put it, the Romans clearly saw the mountains as having religious significance. They didn't just admire them from a distance, they climbed up and left offerings to honor their gods. The Kazakhstan Face. What would you do if you were taking a hike and all of a sudden your eyes met the gaze of a face carved in stone? Well, that exact thing happened for researchers in July of 2024. Archaeologists made the exciting discovery in Kazakhstan. They found a mysterious human-like face carved into a granite boulder. It was peeking out in the upper part of a rocky outcrop in the Akmola region. But who made this thing, and why? The carved face, measuring about 10 inches by 8 inches, is striking in its detail. The features are clear and defined, large eyes, a straight nose, and wide lips. It's as if the artist wanted to make sure no one would mistake this for a simple carving. The Margolin Institute of Archaeology shared news of the find. They described the face as well-designed, hinting that it could have held great significance in the past. Near the face carving, archaeologists also found a collapsed stone stele, a large vertical slab often used for ceremonies or as memorials. This stele is over 6 feet tall and 3 feet wide. It features the faded image of a deer with impressive antlers. Both the face and the stele seem to be part of an ancient site meant for rituals, though the exact purpose and age remain a mystery. Lead researcher Sergei Yarogin speculated that the carvings could be connected to ancestor worship or the veneration of long-lost deities. He also pointed out that these monuments show a rich cultural tradition in northern Kazakhstan, where such monumental art was not previously thought to exist. Preliminary estimates suggest that the carvings could date back to prehistoric times, possibly the Chalcolithic period or the Late Bronze Age. This was a time when Kazakhstan's population was rapidly developing. During this era, communities were transitioning to cattle breeding and metalworking, especially copper and bronze. This discovery adds to a growing list of impressive finds in Kazakhstan, including a 3,000-year-old pyramid that was uncovered the year before. So, was there once an advanced ancient culture living in the area long ago? It sure looks that way. Have you ever found something strange or mysterious while hiking in the mountains, or had an experience you can't explain? If so, tell me all about it in the comments down below. And while you're at it, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye for now.